Hello, my name is SNESman. This isn't a full review or a special video or anything. This is just a really straightforward, unscripted vlog where I talk to you and address a certain concern that's been kind of on everyone's mind, or maybe just my mind. But I've been getting a lot of comments over the years. Off and on, someone will just come to me and give me this accusation. You're too young to play Super Nintendo games. You look like you're 14. What the hell are you doing talking about these old sacred things to me? And I just thought I would finally address that. First of all, to give you some background, I was born in 1993. I'm only 20 years old. I'm not 30 or 40 like a lot of these commenters are, and I was not raised with the Super Nintendo when it was in its heyday. I got the hand-me-down system. Here's some background. My first system I ever played was the NES. I was 3 years old. My older brother had it. That was a hand-me-down system. This was in the mid-90s. Keep that in mind. And I was playing Duck Hunt, Mario. He always wanted to be Luigi, so ironically I was the younger brother and I was Mario. And Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, those sort of games like that. Those were my first exposure to games, not the PlayStation or the GameCube or other things you would expect of someone from my generation. And so the Super Nintendo actually was, for me, when I was old enough to start blossoming as a gamer and get into things. For the first time, I was picking up the controller, and it wasn't just my brother saying, here, play this for a second. It was me popping in the cartridge and saying, hey, how about I play some Donkey Kong Country? This was in the late 90s, early 2000s, when Super Nintendo was obviously discontinued. The prime games were on the GameCube, the PlayStation 2, Xbox. And I had, eventually I got a GameCube, and I got a 64, and all those systems, the DS. But that was afterwards. There was a time when all I did have was the Super Nintendo. So in a way, I feel an affinity with the older commenters and the older YouTubers who were around at that time, who were kids when the Super Nintendo came out. Because for me, and what I had access to, it was new to me. I thought that they were impressive graphics. I thought they were really great games, and I didn't know any better. And so I realized I don't have the same access, I didn't have the same access to the Super Nintendo library that kids did have growing up in the 90s, because for them, it was very cutting-edge technology. It was everyone waiting, what's the new game that's going to come out? Let's read Nintendo Power and stuff. When I got Nintendo Power, when I first started reading it, it was like, big deal. It's just another magazine. We have the internet now. We can look up on GameFAQs how to beat a game. And in that day, games were a more special thing, I believe. But just because I don't have that experience doesn't mean I don't have any authority on the topic, is what I'm trying to say. You wouldn't tell a historian of Arthurian legend that because he did not know King Arthur that he can't write, stories about him. I feel it's the same way. If you're someone who dedicates your life to something you believe in and something you love, I believe you can be an authority in that, whether or not you were present for the heyday of whatever you love. And I feel like people should respect the idea that you can study something and learn it without being directly in the time period it took place. Sure, I respect people who were kids in the 90s and had this sort of experience firsthand, and it was amazing for them, but realize that you can also learn about it later, and you can have similar experiences in a different decade. So, even though I'm young and stuff, I'm just saying, don't knock it. And I'd just like to say, whoever else is my age and stuff, don't be afraid of the games you play. Be proud in what you do. And why don't we all be a family, Why don't we all be happy in what we do? This is SNESman, and keep gaming.